Well, hey there. Thanks for tuning into another video. This one, I really wanted to sit down and answer a lot of your questions because you guys have been ruthless sometimes, and maybe I was a bit misunderstood, or I wasn't as clear as I should have been on some of the reasons why I went from my big Super C into this Class B. So I wanted to take this time just to kind of talk about that and to go over your comments that you guys have made over the last 3 videos. It's 28 days of van life part 1 and 2, and then saying goodbye to the Super C. And they're not in any particular order. It's just some of the processes that I've kind of gone through. Just to kind of clear up any misunderstandings, because there's a lot of people that are looking to try and maybe make a change, or people were following me because they really wanted the Super C, and then I changed direction, and now maybe people are wondering, well, maybe is this right for me? So there's a lot of stuff that we kind of want to cover, and so I just kind of want to go through this. Love your program, good job, okay. It's time to claim the Super C back. I know you're just messing around with your peep. If your cats could talk, they would say what you were thinking. Well, the cats can talk, and they're vocal about it every day, about how they complain about how they don't have the space. So they are very vocal, and I know their opinions, but you know what? They can get over it. I mean, like, sometimes life isn't all that great. They were just last week, I was having some Battleborn battery upgrades done to the van, which I'll talk about in another video, but we spent 4 days in a hotel. And Izzy here, she's sleeping on the sofa there, you might be able to see her. She didn't get up from under the covers of the bed the entire time except to eat and poop. I will say this about the cats though, when we moved back into the van after 4 days, you can tell that they really like it here now, because they just hop back onto their spots, up on their perches, out the windows. They were not happy in this hotel, even though they still had all their stuff, all their toys, windows to look out on. You could just tell they weren't happy. They loved, as soon as we got back into the van, you could just tell that they were active, and then their entire, personality and everything just kind of got pepped up again. So I think they like the van. Here we go. You will miss a Super C. Sorry it seemed like the C was a lemon for you. Okay. It was not a lemon by any means. That Integra Accolade that I had was a power horse. It worked fantastic. I didn't have any issues with it. It was not a lemon. And I'm still keeping it because it was not a lemon. It was well built. I didn't have any real major problems with it as far as the build goes. There were some things. The bolts needed to be tightened, or they didn't use the right bolts. They needed like what you call where the lug nuts automatically tighten and lock in, like a locking nut or something. They didn't use those. They should have. Some of the trim was starting to come off on the inside, but that's just some glue to go back on there. So those are all wear and tear issues, in my opinion, after you take this thing off boondocking and off-roading as much as I did, which it's really not meant to do. I thought it held up very well, but as far as mechanically and all of the systems working, the communication programs, the Freightliner side of the chassis, no, it was not a lemon. It was a great rig, and I'm still very, very happy with it. One of the reasons why I did change is just because of it's just because I wanted something different. I wanted to kind of do the VanLIfe thing. Sanddog says, damn, love wine, gotta keep it cool. Oh yeah, it was fine, and I'm almost through that entire collection. I think I got like 5 or 6 bottles left. I gave a lot away. I drank, enough as well. But yeah, all that wine is good, and so it was fantastic. Vicky Ball, first time watcher from the UK. Hey, sweet, thanks for joining us. Looking forward to seeing how things progress. Yeah, you and me both. Talk about uphill without a paddle. Sometimes I wonder if I really am like that, and I just like to torture myself. I don't know. Longtime viewers, Mary says, sad to see the Accolade go. At least you still own it and have fun in a rental situation. They really get good money, yada, yada, yada. I may do that with mine in 5 years or so, or just sell it. Who knows? Glad to see you're enjoying yourself again. You seem to be less stressed. I didn't think that I was stressed to begin with. I think where I was at was just like, I was kind of over it. It wasn't stress. It was kind of like, I'm ready for a next thing. 18 months in that rig was absolutely fantastic, and I could go a lot longer, but I think my priorities just started changing, and I don't think it was stress. I think it was just, I'm excited to do what I want to do next, if that makes sense. Evelyn asks, what happened to your Jeep? Hope you're enjoying the new van. Travel safe. So I sold the Jeep. When I was in Denver, I put it up for sale. And, these COVID elevated prices have just been insane. I ended up selling the Jeep wholesale to a dealer for exactly what I bought it for 2 years ago. And so that was insane. Cars aren't appreciating assets. The depreciating assets, they go down in value. Maybe things will be changing again and prices will start getting back to normal or reasonable. pretty soon. But hey, it worked out for me, so I'm happy with that. This one is about my part 1 on van life. You guys are really fully, like, what's the word? Obsessively interested in my coffee drinking habits. I mean, so in that video, if you haven't seen it, go back to the 28 days in van life part 1. And one of the issues that I was struggling with is I was camping, I was boondocking out with a bunch of friends, but this thing only had a 1,000-watt inverter. I couldn't make coffee with my Keurig, so I had to drive away from everybody, start the generator so that way I can start making my coffee so I wouldn't disturb everybody with the generator and everything. And the comments just came flowing in about how crappy the Keurig is and why I would use the K-cups and why don't I just use propane and why don't I just, get a pour over where I can heat up my water in a in a kettle or something on the stove. Why don't I do? I mean, there were just like multiple. I was like, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, I can't believe everybody is so obsessed with my coffee drinking habits. Romeo says, I'm shocked at your lack of coffee skills. Boil some water. Can't you do that, or do you not have a propane stove, or the process doesn't involve running process, a generator, boil water, pour over a filter, and a scoop coffee? Yes. Yes. And I love coffee, and I used to do a pour over all the time. And it was one of those things that just went. I even had a pour over. No, I don't think I had it in my rig, but I had it when I lived in my condo. But yeah, it's gone now. But I just might. I did actually start looking at some again because I was like, well, maybe there are some plastic ones, some RV friendly portable ones. Because I had the really glass things, and it just didn't travel well, so I couldn't really utilize that. But maybe these new ones might work, so I might give it a shot. On the flip side, I just now upgraded my van with battle-borne batteries, a 3,000-watt inverter. I can run my air conditioning off of this, so I don't have that issue anymore. So that need kind of goes away, but I agree with you. I do love some good pour-over coffee. I just drink my coffee just black. I don't put anything in it. So when you have good coffee, I mean, you know it. You absolutely just feel it. Liam, another longtime viewer of the channel, thank you, Liam, says, your vision has changed, and we're looking forward to your new adventures. Traveling our beautiful country through your vlogs is uplifting. Oh, thanks. I'm in South Lake Tahoe, by the way, right now. You want to talk about beautiful South Lake Tahoe? You got to get here. Like, especially this time of year. The weather is great. The people are great. It's just an amazing spot. So South Lake Tahoe, California, and State Line, Nevada. Make sure that you hit this area when you're going through like Yosemite or you're going through Sequoia or any of those areas. You got to make sure you add South Lake Tahoe to the list, or even North Lake Tahoe for that matter. The travels in your vlog should not be stressful to you, and I'm glad you made the decision. Really? Was I really feeling that stressed? Did it show? Like, was it really? I don't know. That's just weird. Stress in our life is the #1 killer of our lives. I'm glad you're back traveling. Safe travels. Thank you, Liam. Robert here says, I'm saddened about your move away from the Super C. Because it claimed the vision, I decided to purchase a Super C like you. Hey, Robert, I know you're going to enjoy it. And I really do enjoy mine. I did enjoy it. And I think if I ever get back into it, I'm going to enjoy it again. So I commend you. I think that's a great decision on that Super C. So don't worry about me. I made the change away from it from a different reason, but I know that you made the right decision, and I'm glad that I was able to help out with that. Let's see. Robert goes on and says, please give me details other than the general comments of the Integra being just too much pressure and anxiety. Can you be more specific so I understand what I'm getting myself into? With the exception for the length, size, and no slides, you still have to do everything with your B, right? So please explain what's really happening. I need to know. There's a lot more to traveling in the Super C than just backing it up, unhooking, hooking, opening the slides, closing the slides, and the ongoing maintenance. There's a lot more to that. That is just the tactical stuff that you need to do once you get to where you're going. There is a huge other process that you have to think about to get to where you're going. So, for example, on mine, I was about 65 feet long with the Jeep. I was 13.6 height exactly with the solar panels that were on top of the ACs in the rack, which is fine. But the big part is you have to plan to get there. And part of that includes like route planning through a RV GPS. I use the Garmin 890 because I can put into the system, I carry propane. This is how long I am. This is how tall I am. So that way it won't route me through a tunnel that's too short, or something like that. So So there's that. You just can't throw it into Google Maps and think you're going to be okay. The other thing was fueling. Truck stop fueling only. You try and get into a commercial gas station, and there's just no way that you're going to be able to maneuver in and out in that tight spot. So truck stops only for fueling, or those big islands where they have like RV-friendly truck stops and stuff, or RV-friendly fuel stops and everything. So you have to plan out your fuel. You just can't go, oh, look at my light came on, I guess I'll pull over now. No, you got to think about where you're going. You got to do that. The bigger issue, though, is finding space to camp at campgrounds and RV parks. Now, I did a lot of boondocking, and all that was intentional, but when I was in a spot, going to an RV park or going to a campground, they don't have a lot of space for a 60-foot rig. And you need 60 feet because you're going to park your rig, and you still have to put your Jeep somewhere, your towed vehicle. So really, you need a long 60-something foot space. And there's only so many of those that are available. And this is another thing that surprised me. Even when I searched for like a harvest host, I would go through the filter and I say my rig is 40 feet long or whatever. And even the number of places that would accept a rig that long is kind of few and far between, versus now when I just say, hey, I want to go onto a harvest host, and I say I'm 25 feet, there's everything available, and you can just pull right in. They're never sold out. The tactical stuff, when you're there, is only part of it. There's also things about, oh, I can't stay there, they're full, that's too, you're too big, I wish we have space. But yeah, I was told a few times, not a lot, but a few times, sorry, we just don't have space for you. We do have open spaces, but you just won't fit. So I would say, like, what happens if I just put my Jeep in a parking lot somewhere and it didn't have to be in the space, and then I can park this? And they're like, no, we only have a 30 foot available, we only have a 32 foot available. There were a few times where that was stressful, where it's like, I don't know where I'm going to stay tonight. And so it was a Walmart kind of night, so that was the thing. But I hope that answered your question. It's more than just it's more than just the maintenance and the tacticals. And yeah, when my slide broke when I was in Austin, and it took like 3 days to be able to have to push that in, and we had to rebuilt the entire thing. That was stressful. And then trying to find all this other stuff and all these little things breaking and the parking, and it wasn't even just that too, but I kind of missed the mobility that I used to have. That was the other thing. So it's different if you've never done it. You don't know what you don't know. But I knew that there was a different way to travel in the vans and stuff that I missed. And so every time I thought I saw something that didn't quite work out or didn't quite fit right with the Super C, I remember going back and saying, I wouldn't have that problem if I were in a van. And I think over the last 6 months of just saying that over and over and over and over and over again, that I finally just kind of got to that tipping point and said, let's see what's out there. What did you get for the rig? I see prices dropping with more people getting out due to gas prices. Okay, my experience on this. I lost about $30,000 in resale value in about 30 days. Mostly because I put the rig into the shop because I wanted to have some body work done. I wanted to have some paint done. I wanted to get it looking really nice. I wanted it fully detailed. There's cats and stuff in there, so I wanted it fully detailed from top to bottom. That whole process took about 5 or 6 weeks, from the time that I brought it over there. And just in that window, I could have listed it and sold it for probably close to $260, maybe $250 to $260. By the time I got back and I was looking, I'd be lucky to get maybe like $220 to $230 out of it. And I'm talking about an aggressive price for a quick sale. I could have probably put it up for $250 and let it roll and hinder and just kind of waited out there, but I don't want to wait. There's still summer left, and I wanted someone to take the rig and be able to use it this season. So an aggressive pricing just to get it gone. It went from maybe about $250 or $260 or so all the way down to $220, and that's when I said, you know what? Maybe it's not the right time to sell. Maybe I can use it as an income generator. So I started looking into the rental programs. And so that's kind of the way I went. I just felt like I just lost, $40,000, $50,000 in equity had I acted 6 weeks sooner, But it's just one of those things. Prices are coming down though. And there's a lot. So when I decided to go with this era, I went to go look at one at a dealership outside of Denver, about a half hour north of Denver. And I just got an email today or yesterday. I just got an email yesterday that said that they still have it. They did a price drop on it. It was like a $2,000 price drop. They wanted $160 or $161 or something like that, and they just dropped it to $159. 99. So it must have been, they dropped it 2,000. So it must have been 161. They dropped it to 159 or something like that. And they're still way overpriced. Like, they're about $40,000 way overpriced from what they should be asking. I mean, they were just upside down in it. That's just because when I was looking at these, they were ranging anywhere between 120 to 140 private party. So pricing is coming down everywhere. And I think as we get into the fall of later this year, I'm not an economist or anything, but I can look and read the signs and I can talk to people that are out there. The honeymoon's over. So act now or forever hold your peace if you're trying to sell. If you're trying to buy, if you can wait until the fall and you're going to be in a good position to be able to do that, you'll be able to take advantage of some pretty good rates, in my opinion. Again, not an economist or an expert. I just kind of do that thing. So how do you like B compared to the Super C? We're dreaming about a larger rig. Well, I don't know what rig you're in, other than almost everything is bigger than this B. Here's one thing too. I don't know if I gave enough consideration to the B pluses. Okay, so you have the B class, which is the van, and then you have the B plus, which is somewhere between a B and a small C, or even a small A, because you can get a 24-foot C class that's the same as this, but there's this other one where it's a B plus, where it doesn't have that overhang over the driver cab, which is what really makes it a C, but it still kind of expands out. So my width here, I want to say is like 6 feet or something like that, but a B plus kind of pops out a little bit beyond the cab, and you maybe get an extra foot or so, maybe, I don't know, but it kind of little pops out, so you do get more room on the inside. And I don't know if I gave the B plus the time and the consideration it deserved. I was really set on just doing the VanLIfe. I wanted to park on the street. I wanted to make it easy in and out, but a B plus can probably do that just as easily as this can. And so that's why I was like, afterwards, I was like, well, I had my sight set on VanLIfe, and so I only considered the vans. But if you're considering and you want the nimbleness, but you also want a little bit extra space, really stop and look at the B plus category on that. I know that there's a lot of them that are out there, and it might just be that happy medium for you if you're looking at like the two different ones. Here's a great observation from Perry. Says, we could put a man on the moon, but we still can't make a silent generator. Yeah, tell me about it. I have a comment here. Should have just gotten a Class C with the slide out Mercedes. I didn't want to slide. I mean, that was, I think, kind of one of the bigger issues, is I didn't want to slide out. I didn't want to have to, I was really looking for simplicity. I didn't want to slide. I didn't want to have to tow. I didn't want to have to do anything. I just wanted to get up and go. So I think that was why. There is a B class in Era, as a matter of fact, that a fellow escaper has. Her name is Rose. She just got an Era as well. And it's the same chassis, but hers has a slide. So they can put slides in a B van. They're rare, but it can be done, and she's got one. So we have Jeeps and RV says, we're in the process of downsizing as well from a 40-foot diesel pusher motorhome to a 24-foot Sprinter van, which is exactly what I just did, 40-foot to a 24-foot. We're doing this for many reasons you did. Too much stress traveling and planning trips and a bigger rig. I think it'll be much better fitting in almost any camping spot and being able to boondock more. Yes, absolutely. You can fit anywhere. There hasn't been a spot I haven't been able to get into. I've never been turned away from any sort of Harvest Host or Campgrounds or this because of size. We will miss the large bathroom, the washer dryer, but hopefully other advantages will outweigh it. Question is your van 4x4? Ours will not be. We are about a month away from the transition. Looking forward to more of your videos. Well, thanks for watching, first of all. Yes, this is the 4x4. It wasn't a must-have for me. It was a nice-to-have. Once I found the right rig and I was able to negotiate and figure that out, if it was a 4x4, great. If it wasn't, great. This one I went with for a couple reasons. A, it was a 4x4, but the seller wasn't charging the extra premium for a 4x4. I was able to negotiate it down to where this was the same cost as a normal one. The only difference is it had about 4,000 or 5,000 miles more than a lot of the other ones that I was looking at. So for me, I was like, I'll take the 4,000 or 5,000 extra miles and get that 4x4 for the same price as opposed to the other way around. So that's how it worked for me. It wasn't important, but I'm glad I have it because it did save my butt one time. Debbie says, love the new van. It seems like it would be much easier to navigate in this one. Yes, it is. Oh, I don't remember if I mentioned this at all. This van sucked to drive. When I first got it, when I got it back to Denver, it was every bump in the road, every nick, and I remember complaining about it in one of my previous videos that this thing just doesn't handle well. So when I got my Super C back and I was doing my final emptying, I took the TPMS monitors off of the Super C and I put it onto this rig. It turned out that there was about 40 PSI in all the tires. When I went to go look at the side of the tires to look at the recommended thing, hold on, there's a plane coming overhead. So when I went to go look at the sticker on the door and the signs on the side of the tire, recommended cold PSI was 80. This thing was 50% lower on the air pressure than what was recommended. And so I immediately pulled over, went to an air pump. I pumped it up to, I think, 65, and it rode way better. So I'm toying with the air pressure between like 60 or 70 to 75 or something like that. My thing is I need to get this thing weighed. I need to know how much weight is in it so I know how to adjust the air pressure. But putting that extra air into these tires made a world of difference. And so right now I'm toying right around the 70 PSI range, and it handles so much better. It's amazing. So I'm much happier with it, and I'm glad that I put that on there, because it was just like 40 PSI. Can you imagine? It's like 50% under what was recommended on the side of the tires. It was nuts. Kevin says, I could never go for a van. Definitely claustrophobic. I could feel the walls closing in just watching you. At least in the Super C, you had some breathing room. Yes, I have been spending a lot more time outside, and that's a good thing. There are times in the Super C, I wouldn't leave at all. I had everything. I had the recliners, I had this and that. I had no reason to go outside. Here, after a little bit, I'm kind of like, you know what? I need to go for a walk. Or I'm going to go and set a chair up outside and go sit outside and make a drink and watch the sunset or something. There's always something that's saying, get out of this rig. Go do something else, So I've kind of gotten to the habit where in the morning I'll come and I'll make my coffee, and then I'll just go straight to work. 7 o'clock, 7:30, I'll just fire up the laptop and I'll work. And then right around noon, I'll start getting hungry for lunch or whatever. So I'll go out for a walk, or I'll throw something in the microwave or in the air fryer. I'll go out for a quick walk, come back, eat, go back outside and just kind of chill for a bit, come in and finish up whatever I need to do, and then head back out again, after it gets cooled down a little bit. So definitely spending a lot more time outside than I have at night. I don't get claustrophobic as much at night out here. I mean, there's times where I can bring the iPad or a video projector out to watch TV outside if I wanted to, if the weather's nice. I've done that before. By the time that the sun goes down, van life is weird. Once the sun goes down, then I'm kind of already in bed, and I'm waking with the sun now, because I've got all these windows out, and I always leave the windows open for the cats so they can look out at night and they can see what's going on. So I get woken up when the sun comes up anyways. So I do kind of feel like I gotta get out of this van for a while. I just gotta get out of here. So I get your point about the claustrophobia, but it's manageable. It's not bad. I'm not like having panic attacks or anything. Jackie says, nice van, great idea for the kitty litter. Thank you. That was the one thing before I bought the van. I was like, what am I going to do with the cat box? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then when I found this floor plan where I said I can take this chair out and I can build something, and that was kind of one of those other big selling points. It was like, okay, problem solved. Yes, I can move forward with this. Jackie continues to say, the extra 3 feet of van gives you a neat area. Mine's 21, and I'm envious of that extra space. Yeah, 3 feet can make a big difference, I missed your previous episode, so I was wondering why it looked like you were in a van. Yeah, don't miss an episode. Hit that subscribe button and the little bell notification. You'll never miss an episode. All right. Thanks for watching, Jackie. Appreciate it. Hayes TV, good ideas. Your van is lovely. See you soon. Yes, I hope so. Such a tight living space in a van. Mobility is an A+, all the best. That's really the key, is mobility and flexibility. We travel more. So one of the things that I'm looking at here, so like if I run a Super C, I would stay somewhere for a length of time, and maybe a week, let's say. I'll stay somewhere for a week, and then I go and explore the area, and then I would drive maybe like 4 or 6 hours, and then stay there for another week or so. But what's cool about the way that I've been doing the van is I'll stay somewhere for a day or two, and then I'll drive to the next really cool town. Maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 2 hours, maybe it's 30 minutes away, and I'll stay there and, hang out there. And then the next day I'll drive maybe another an hour or two to the next really cool town. So I covered the same amount of distance in the same amount of time, but in the Super C, I missed everything from point A to point B. Versus in the van, I can stop at every town, every little city, every little kind of attraction, and still in that same week, cover the same amount of ground, cover the same kind of fuel, but actually see more of, the traveling areas, because that's what, that mobility issue provides, that mobility opportunity provides, not issue, opportunity. Congratulations on your new rig. This is VS talking. Just curious why you didn't pick a Mini Winnie 22R, same length, definitely more width and height, but a lot more space and $100,000 cheaper. Well, I didn't look at the C's at all. I really was kind of set on a VanLIfe B class van. And like I was saying earlier, I think I may have disregarded the B pluses. I would have probably considered a B plus again, just because. But So anyways, but no, I didn't. There's also a reason why it's $100,000 cheaper. It's a Mini Winnie, and I don't know if I would have bought one of those anyways because of all the problems that I've heard owners have with those. But so thanks for the comment, VS. The Winnebago Bolt all-wheel drive would have been a better choice. Has lithium and enough room. I didn't see the Bolt. Maybe that's classified as a B+. Maybe that's why I didn't see that. Oh, my friend Tiffany. Where's Tiffany? Welcome to VanLIfe. I'm going to get to see her in just a couple weeks here, and that brings me up to this point. I hope to see you in a couple weeks at Chasm in Lake Havasu, Arizona. We're having a big event. Chasm is camping, health, art, sports, and music. It's a 4-day festival with, like I just said, camping, health, art, sports, and music. Whether you have a tent camper, whether you are a pickup truck, whether you're a home-built conversion, whether you're doing the tent camping thing in your car, whether you have an RV or you don't, come to Chasm. Go to chasmfest.com, CHASMFEST.com. Check it out. There's music, there's entertainment, there's goat yoga, regular yoga, paddleboarding, mountain biking, just tons of activities for art, sports, music, and of course, camping and health, daily yoga, meditation, and stuff like that too. So there's just so much stuff. If you go and you use the code Claim the Vision, you're going to save yourself 15% off your registration fees, and you're going to be camped out in the Claim the Vision section. So that will be a lot of fun, where we can just kind of hang out, we can chat, share a bottle of wine or something, and participate in a ton of activities. It's kind of like in a first official, unofficial meetup or something. So Halloween weekend, October 28th, 29th, 30th, and we leave on Monday the 31st. It's just going to be a great time. chasmfest.com. Use the promo code ClaimTheVision for 15% off. They are not a sponsor. They're just a really, JP Smith is the person who's putting this on. He's a friend. He used to be the convergence director for the Escapers RV Club, and if you've watched my channel, you know that they put on a good party. JP was responsible for all that, and he's putting on a great party here. So I want to go and support them. I hope that you can make it out there too. If you're looking for something to do for Halloween weekend and you don't know, come on down. Even if you have a tent and you don't have an RV or anything, come anyways, because you can do your tent camping. There are hot showers there. There's bathrooms there, flush toilets. It's a great area. You do not need to be in a rig. You can tent camp if you don't have a camper. So come on out and join the party. It's going to be a great time. Saturday night, there's going to be a costume party, and we'll have prizes available. It's not a costume contest. It's just a costume party. And hey, if you got something that's cool, you're going to get the prize. So lots of fun. Lake Havasu, Arizona. It's only maybe 2 or 3 hours from LA, from Vegas, from Phoenix, from San Diego. So if you're in that area, or if you're a full-time nomad, you're going to come down. You're going to be in that area anyways. The window's starting to roll through. You're going to start making your way south. So make plans to be at Chasm Fest. And I hope to see you there. You can use the code ClaimTheVision for 15% off. Leaving RV Life was the first video that I put out about moving over to VanLIfe. And Quan74 says, a little clickbaity this video. Well, it's not untrue. I did leave RV Life. I'm just moving to VanLIfe. MEE says here, I understand totally. My wife and I just went from a Bounder to an Integra launch. It's 19 feet. I'm not familiar with the Integra launch, but 19 feet. Yeah, that's like a smaller Sprinter platform. 4-wheel drive and packed with lithium on a Sprinter chassis. We love it. It's like freedom. We can be and stay wherever. We live in Texas right now and run our AC all night on battery. Wow, that's pretty cool. You can run your batteries all night with the AC. That's neat. And be comfortable in this heat. Can charge back up while driving the next day in a couple hours. VanLIfe is amazing. Only drawback we've found is the tiny bathroom. Yeah, that 100% accurate. So, Debbie says, I think the B is a great choice. Congrats. Thank you, Debbie. Sandra here says, that'll probably be one of the best decisions you've ever made for yourself. Always wondered why you needed that huge rig for one person. Can't wait to see your new home. Congratulations. It wasn't necessarily for me. It was two very spoiled and entitled kitties as well. Donette says, the Class Bs have gotten our attention. We're in a Jayco Class C, but want to go smaller too. You know, the one thing that I've found amazing since being on the road for these last 20 months or so is talking to people who've gone through multiple rigs. They've almost always gone smaller. I don't think I've really met anybody except for maybe one or two people that have gone bigger in size. Every time I talk to somebody and I talk about what kind of rigs they're in, they've, for the most part, always have said that they go smaller in size and not bigger. And I just thought that was something interesting. So let me just go on the record here. If I ever come onto this channel and say I'm going smaller than this 24 foot, if I ever say I'm going into a 19 foot, that's when you're going to know I lost it. Just saying. Hold me to that if you remember in the future. So we'll see. Oh, by the way, as you know, I travel a lot with some group of friends and stuff like that. When they all found out that I was moving into a B van, there's a pool on me. There's a wager on how long I'll actually be able to last in this van. It goes as short as this winter and as long as a year. Like a year. That's all they think I'm going to be able to do this for. And maybe they might be right, but, you know, guess in the comments below what you think I'm going to do, because I don't know what I'm going to do. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about this, and my thing was, some people think that once the winter hits and it gets colder, that I'm not going to like it because I'm going to have to spend more time in the van, which is a possibility. And if it really is as bad as they say it is, then yeah, next year I'm going to say I'm not going to be another van for the winter. I'm going to get something bigger. On the flip side of that, weather is always variable depending upon where you're at. So if I'm in a warmer climate, the cold isn't going to be that much of an issue. Like planning on spending February in Mexico down there. So I don't think that it's going to be cold. It better not be. You know, so that's just kind of one of those things that I'm looking at trying to figure out. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for all of your comments. Please, you know, leave more questions in the comments below. I love hearing from you. I love the feedback and just getting a chance to help you with your decisions if you have questions or if there's anything else that I can answer for you. But I do hope to see you at Chasm Fest. That's just going to be a lot of fun. So be sure to check that out. And until next time, stay safe. We'll see you on the road. And thanks for watching Claim the Vision. And I'll see you in the next video.